Today, your main man is going to talk about game raping, breaking of the games. This is a loathsome, a deplorable habit practiced by many mental indigents and ne'er-do-wells of several shades and stripes. Certainly something that you want to avoid, and individuals that you want to avoid having in your game. I definitely think if you're playing like in a game shop environment, keep your ears open for that term. Yeah, I raped that dude's game. I broke that dude's game. I destroyed that game. I crushed that module. I destroyed it. I broke it in a way we had to stop playing, and they get happy as a motherfucker. Yeah, I did this shit and we had to stop. Well, damn you goddamn imbecile! You just ruined everyone's fun at the table. What is wrong with you? That's a real simple question to ask someone like that. The person running that game was certainly going to be, at the very least, less inclined to want to run more games that you allegedly purport you enjoy for you specifically and for anyone in general after that. A shattering first-time experience running a game can prevent someone from continuing the hobby altogether, leaving it, not playing again because they've had a miserable time. They were made to feel like a fool, an imbecile, and such, when in fact they are trying to, out of their own kindness, facilitate your fun. Now, they might not have done a good job. They might not have entertained you as such, and it's fine to get out of somebody's game that you're not enjoying, but at the same time, there's absolutely no reason to destroy their game to want to drive them out of the hobby if they're trying, you know, if they're not, this is somebody new and they're trying to make their, they're trying to learn how to do the hobby. It's what you should do is attempt to help them if you're going to play at their game, and realize that they might not bring much of a caliber, but it's sort of almost a charitable thing on an experienced gamer, particularly if you know what you're doing. I should put that someone that knows what they're doing, because I run into people that experience all the time that have no clue what they're doing. So if you know what you're doing, you should either not play if you don't want to play, don't want to deal with that, and that's certainly fine, or attempt to help them. You don't want to break down the results and bring in an unbelievably ridiculous character. You don't want to figure out what their plot is and destroy it, run the other way from it. If they're running a module, figure out kind of how the module goes so you can exploit it, so you can get mad treasure out of them, try to talk them into giving you a +5 Vorpal Sword or Holy Avenger or whatever it is at the outset of the game. Oh yeah, it'd be fine. They're all playing this, but let me bring this 7th level character with a Holy Avenger and a whole bunch of other magic items that you don't know what they do or how horrible they can affect your game in right away. Let me get a rod of teleportation and all kinds of ridiculous things, particularly if I could find something that has a murky rule written on it, particularly from like an OGL game or something like that I could bring in and exploit and say, well, it actually does this. That's the way we've always done it. This is what it really means. This, well, you damn well know it's not. If it's a little minor deal, it certainly isn't going to be world breaking. And trying to do that to a player is absolutely abominable. I've seen people smirk on their faces and think, "Haha, look how clever I am. I was so smart, so good at this game that I was able to destroy the game of someone who didn't know what they were doing." Of course you could, you blithering fucking imbecile. I mean, of course you could do that. And personally, I find that a deplorable tactic. If you're that type of person, you can suck my dick and don't subscribe to my channel. I don't want you watching my videos. How about that? How about that? You suck on some balls, bitch-ass motherfucker. Now I got that on my system. It's really an unfortunate... So not for kids or something like that in this video. Okay. Yeah. So now that I got a bit of funniness out of my system, I'm going to put it like this to you: you don't want to do that because you're directly hurting the hobby. You don't want to support this sort of player because they're going to make your game experience worse. They're destructive for probably a lot of different reasons. They're probably playing lots and lots of trash games, and they have develop a chip on their shoulder. They want to get revenge. They want to push you down and bully you because they've got their ass whooped in games, or they was joked on, or people are like, ooh, and nobody really wants them in their game. So they have that animosity, that anger inside them because they're the last guy that gets picked to kickball. You understand? I'm talking about an RPG kickball. Part Personally, I can't relate to that. I don't understand that. That's never been my gimmick. But I've seen it, and I've seen people talk proudly. Like, they'll look over at somebody else and they'll say, yeah, he was running this game a month ago, and I raped it. I wrecked it. Oh, I got to give me all these magic items. I got to let me play this ridiculous thing right at first level. I got him to do this. He was running a module, and I figured out, like, if I did use this ability, he could have figured out how to cope for it, and the whole game came to a collapse. And it was done right there after I used that ability. And I'm just like, damn, dude. Nobody whooped your ass for doing that? you lucky. You lucky you was playing with the right people. Because that don't fly. You know, that doesn't fly at all. You wanna make the game succeed if you're a part of it. Or just leave. Like, if you're like, ooh, this game sucks. You can get up and leave right in the middle. You can say, oh, man, I can't get with this. And just walk off. And it may even be worth cracking on it if that's what you want to do. But particularly with somebody that's new and just somebody doesn't know what they're doing, you don't want to carry it like that. You want to bring it in a way that that is nice and easy to deal with, that makes the game fun for that person who's running it, and that's the person you want to concentrate on, because you want them to continue running stuff, because whatever they did now, they're only going to get better. Like, no one does a great job the first time they do something, well, at least atypical to do a great job the first time you're doing anything. When you try more and more, you try and you're attempting to learn, you're attempting to educate yourself, you're learning from your mistakes, and you're learning from conversations, learning from the things you did right. You're going to get better. That's simply how improvement is. That's how you get more skill ranks or skill grades or skill dots, whatever you want to call it, on your cosmic character sheet for you. That's how you spend them experience, by doing things, by learning things, by studying. And the same goes for running a game or for playing in games. You will get better with time if you are attempting to get better. Anyone will if they're attempting to get better. It might be marginal. That person may never possess the sort of game that you want to play, and they may, if they tried for 1,000 years, never be able to produce it. But it is likely, if they are trying to improve, that they will produce a vastly better quality product a year down the road from where they started. If they're working at it, if they're learning, if they're running, if they're paying attention to mistakes they made, if they're asking for player feedback, and this sort of thing. And particularly if they have enough spine to say no. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to bring that ridiculous thing in and say no to players who they know are going to be damaging or detrimental. And the game rapist is a very detrimental player to have in your game. It's not the sort of person that you want at your table. It's not the sort of person that you want in your game. Because they are there to damage and destroy whatever they're doing, particularly the second that they don't like something. If they don't like a ruling you made, if they're not happy with another character, or the worst thing possible, you get two of these people in your game who aren't on, either way, if they're on the same side, that's really bad. If they're against each other, that's really bad too, because it's going to be like Godzilla and King Kong colliding and just smashing all the little tiny villagers who happen to be the other players, who happen to be your NPCs and so forth, because they have serious power to unleash upon you. You can, if you know what you're doing, particularly once you have a few levels on the game, you can make absurdly powerful, a character that's absurdly more powerful than another character in Dungeons & Dragons, in Pathfinder, in Rifts, in Palladium Fantasy, in most early sort of games. There are going to be a few examples, like a Call of Cthulhu, that it just doesn't really matter. The only real power there is how fast you can run, I guess. That seems to be the power gaming trait in that game. And maybe if you have a trip skill, oh, I get away, because you didn't. But beyond that, a lot of the early games have rules that can produce a character that's way up here and way down here by, you know, maybe eight game sessions in, let's say. And even at the beginning, you know, it'll be a pretty big difference. And hell, God, in Rifts, you know, I mean, there's no point even talking about that. But that's very important. Shame on you if you do that, and shame on you more if you brag about it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're ruining people's fun. I get comments and huge messages, you know, like 8 pages of text about, like, I had this experience where this guy did this and he destroyed the game, but destroyed it, and I stopped running, and it's been 8 years, and I watched your videos, and now I'm going to try running again. I get that comment or a version of that almost every single week. And then people wonder why I rage about the horrible aspects and antics of people. because I personally have seen the other side. I know the other side, and I get messages all the time from people who've had their experience in rowing, been chased off from the hobby, and so forth. And if you're doing that, just stop it. I don't know. Go play a different game. Go do something else. Get out of the hobby. There's something wrong with you in your dome piece. That's not cool. It's not cool, bro.